Welcome to Country acknowledges our First Peoples, the custodians who continue their stewardship across our vast lands. We invite you to be our guests and make a true connection.
Ya welcome ya, Iorokan.
Aminjiga.
Yaplingina.
Bro.
Nanga.
Kapmon.
Yaldane Godada Goda.
Welcome to Warendj country, guys. You're now in Kuyu Beach or Kuyu. Come on down.
Womanjika.
Chingiwala.
Welcome, guys. My name's Dustin Maloney.
All called to welcome yous.
Natwa. Welcome.
Yalada Jongura. Garida. Kubriwara Bubu. Kuyu.
Koji Eagle.
Natamwa woman indie.
Hi, I'm Rhoda Roberts, a proud Widgeable woman and a member of the Welcome to Country Board. It is my pleasure to be here today to announce this amazing series of events. The journey begins with Welcome to Country. You can imagine the unexpected. You know, taking a First Nations travel experience is much more than simply just taking a photograph of our ancient landscape. It is about the depth of listening, witnessing the diversity of our cultures, the mystery of rituals, the food, the language, the story and the song. Up until the 8th of December, we're featuring a series of free online events, and we'll give you a sneak preview of 17 life-changing experiences. These are just a taste of what we have on offer. And so now I'm going to hand you over to your next cultural experience with some amazing guides from across the country. Enjoy.
My name's Mick Harding, and my mob are the Taungwurrung language speakers of the Kulin people, the East Kulin people. I don't live on my own country. I live on Gunai country in Gippsland in Victoria, a little place called Churchill in the Latrobe Valley. My country is, I live on the southern side of the Great Divide. My country's on the other side, on the northern side of the Great Divide. I'll go all the way back to being a little kid. When I was a little kid, my father worked for the Herald and the Sun in Flinders Street in Melbourne. And every night when he came home, he would bring home each of those papers, the Herald and the Sun. He would bring them home, and I remember when he plonked them on the kitchen table, I would go to them, and I would go straight to the funnies. I'd always go to the comics in there, and I'd look at the comics, and I think that they were fantastic. And in fact, I used to try and copy them when I was a kid. I worked really closely with another Aboriginal fellow, traditional owner from here, by the name of Russell Mullet, and he gave me my first boomerang arm. I don't know how it came to be, but anyway, I got one of those slices of a blackwood boomerang arm, and anyway, I brought it home and I played around with it, and I chiseled a bit off here and chiseled a bit off there, and sanded a bit off here and filed a bit off there, and I took it back to him and said, "Oh, what do you think of that?" And that's all right, Mick, but you need to do blah blah blah. Anyway, he sort of coached me through it a bit, and I ended up with a really nice blackwood boomerang, and that sort of began the journey of delving back into woodwork. That and the other wood we picked up from down the road, made some furniture which I've still got at home here. People are doing something and they ask me to have a go. I'll have a go at it. I like to have a go at anything that helps you to express yourself, and and here I am today. Been in business for 15 years. It all started. I'd been doing some stuff as a sort of hobby, just to really challenge myself to do things. 2005 came along, and there was a thing called the Koori Business Network. I can't tell you what Victorian government department it was with, but they offered a series of workshops for small businesses or potential small businesses. And I was a sole trader at the time. And I said to my wife, Nicole, I said, I think I'll go out on the road and I'll see whether I can sell my wares around the place. And so I went on a bit of a trip around Victoria and went to several different locations around Victoria where I knew that they bought and sold Aboriginal art. And I think I came home, I don't know, probably 3 days later. I think I came home with a cheque for $5,000, something like that, which back then I suppose was a fair bit of money. It's still a fair bit of money now, but so we were in business, and we had enough money between my wife working and me selling my artworks. We had enough money to pay our bills. So, and here we are. Here's some of my blanks and my shields that I cut out and I make. There's the templates up the top here where they're my stencils. So I make them. I get the wood and do a stencil around them, and then cut them out and shape them up. And so. You see I've got some words and some numbers on them, so I know what size they are and all that kind of thing. Here's some artwork over here. This is some artwork. These are shields for the Victorian Aboriginal Honour Roll, and I did the artwork for the Honour Roll, the Victorian Aboriginal Honour Roll. And I do the gifts for both the men and women that inductees every year. The shields are for the men, of course. And then these aren't finished yet. But there they are. That's a tarnuk or a coolman. And that's what the women get. I'll be finishing them off in the next few days and putting the artwork on them. And then we'll put their names on the back. And then they'll go off to Melbourne and then they'll be gifted to the inductees. What else? You can see a doona. It's not my doghouse where I go to sleep. It's not where it's not where I have to go to sleep when I'm in trouble with the wife. It's actually a laser cutter. We just bought a new laser cutter, and with this laser cutter what we do is we'll do, as you can see all those different boards. There's a board there. Once upon a time I used to burn all this by hand. We now use my artwork, which I draw. We create what's called vector files, and then the vector files go into the laser cutter, and my wife Nicole burns them into the wood, and then we take it to market. A recent thing we've just done, we've just bought water bottles, and we've bought this jig for the laser cutter, where you can put something in the laser cutter and lay it in the bed, and it'll just gradually turn and keep burning the item onto it as you roll with it. So they're the new boxes and these new apparently it's called a rotary. Here's where this is a little place where I sit. There's a boomerang there. This is my little machine. This is how I burn into it. And that's sort of what keeps me occupied. As you can see, I'm just shading it in. I've been doing this for a number of years, and I think I'm getting reasonably good at it now. After 15 years, it's taken me a while to, sort of perfect how to use the machine and how to get the best out of it. And that one there is to use to shade, and this one here is used to flick it over, and I use that to create the line work. So between the line work and the shading, you get a different effect. And no doubt some people have probably seen different things. That I make my artefacts out of real bends out of timber, out of native timbers. And as you can see there's on the floor there's a couple of red gum ones I've got there. There's that's a mallee root one there. That's another bit of this one here, which I think this one is I think it might be a light acacia of some sort. Another one there, another red gum one there. Yeah. But yeah, so that's that sort of stuff. What else? I can't think of it. Maybe we'll take you inside and show you where I sit and draw in my little studio inside. So if you just follow me. Oh, actually, we'll just talk about. Here's my possum skin cloak. I often do possum skin cloaks, of which our old people wore as their clothing. Burn the design into it. Burn the design, use ochre in it, a combination of ochre and wattle sap water, and you can see you get different effects from using the different types of ochres and stuff. This is my cloak I've had for, I've probably had this for over 10 years now. Occasionally add some bits and pieces to it. This is Bunjil the wedge-tailed eagle, and that's Wah the crow down there. Our two main totems for our clans. The clans of the Taungwurrung. So got some skin cloak. Do a few of those every now and then. Making little tarnups there. These little tarnups, they're mallee root. Making them for a job I've got. So that's me shed. Here we are. Here's my little drawing table here. Pencils and pens. I use a lead pencil, and I use a 1.2 and a 0.6 to get different line effects with these Stettler pigment markers, and then a Copic, so as you can see there, different size, different nibs, That's the 1.2 mil, and then I've got a brush nib there, which would again fill it in with colour. I suppose if you look at this one here, you see where I've drawn lines. I'm just starting to draw some bit of detail with my pencil inside the wing, inside Bunjil's wing, Bunjil Wedge-tailed Eagle. Then I do all my outlines and all that kind of stuff, and then as you can see at the back there, if you look at the one at the back, it's all filled in. And then just about playing with different design work. Try to base all my stuff on geometric patterns, which is really dominant traditionally for us down here. So that's another piece I've been working on at the back there. As you can see, I've done all the outline for that. I haven't started filling it in with the brush nib, so I do that first. I take these down to a little place in South Melbourne and I get them scanned at really high resolution, and I do it in black and white first, and then I bring them back, and you can see all these colours here. They're all Copic colours, apart from your lollies. You can see all those, and then these are all my little watercolour, like little watercolour things, and I use the watercolour to give another effect as well. That's what I do, and I've been fortunate enough to keep doing it for 15 years, and hopefully I've got another 15 years, who knows, but I'll just keep doing it. Hopefully we can keep moving with the times and providing nice artwork for gifts and for commissions, for whatever the commissions are. I've done a ton of different commissions now. Started off doing 1 or 2 a year, and I'm probably doing 15 or 20 different commissions over a year now, so it's it can be quite hectic with all the different things we're doing. And then from time to time we're trying to develop product. We've got pins. We've got a range of 17 pins that we offer. We've got the artwork. We've got cards. We're always trying to develop something as an offering, whether it's just a gift for a tourist, whether they're national or international, or corporate gifts. We're trying to tap into that market. We go to the trade fair. We sell our wares to retailers. So we're always trying to create something that's an offering for them, which they can then resell in their shops. And I suppose the other thing that I would like to say before we finish is that it's really important that people buy directly from us or from those outlets that stock our wares. Aboriginal artists, whether it's direct artwork or giftwares. That you check into the places that you're buying things from, and that they're buying and then selling it ethically, because this is what we do. What we're making a living in, and there are still a lot of shonky people out there, and a higher percentage of Aboriginal art that's sold today is not even made in this country. It's made offshore, a lot of Asian countries, and it's non-original a lot of the time. It's just copies of people's work or similar things that people have made themselves. So they're rip-offs, and the money's not going in our pockets. And I think if there's such a thing called closing the gap, that they're the sorts of things that matter. That's how we close the gap, by people buying directly from us or buying our goods from ethical retailers. Yeah, so thanks for listening.
Welcome to Country acknowledges our First Peoples, the custodians who continue their stewardship across our vast lands. We invite you to be our guests and make a true connection. Welcome to Country is a non-profit organisation. It's at the helm of an Aboriginal man and it's run by Aboriginal staff.
All Australians should be passionate about our own country, and Aboriginal culture is a key part of that.
We are the original storytellers, and if everyone understands that message, I think that we'll have a far better future for all of Australia.
It's about learning and connecting.
As we know, it's the oldest living culture in the world.
Simply, it's the premier site to find amazing experiences and great products around Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Australia.
Got to have a great website. So what was needed was to have a common platform that could do the marketing, the sales, all those things that small businesses, whether they're Indigenous or not, struggle over. So people can focus on the thing they're passionate about and deliver that business.
It's about creating employment and economic opportunities for the community. That's the number one thing.
The best thing is by purchasing from us, they are directly giving back and supporting our Indigenous communities, artists and their families.
The key is to enable them to stay on their country or in their city and be able to give them a platform to really flourish and create self-sufficiency.
It is basically self-determination and learning about country through the narrative of our lens.
We're not doing this because we want to put money into our pockets, but rather we want to see community benefit from what we're doing.
We want to be able to show that we're in control and managing our stories. We want to be able to share those stories, and we want to be able to create our own jobs and create our own economies.
For me and my wife's business, we've got the daughters all working. When we started, we had the brothers involved, I had the aunties involved, I had the uncles involved. Yeah, so we show them what Paraka look like and get them to Strellecki Ranges also as well.
We're rich in culture and history, and I said we need to share that because that's where we're going to get changes.
It's a great initiative, really connecting with Indigenous tourism, grassroots people, teaching culture and educating people.
This is a form of livelihood, it's independence, it's self-esteem, and it brings pride.
Now that I'm here working for trips over the last 2 years, I've actually became a master reef guide.
Some of us are really reaping the benefits of that in terms of employment, self-empowerment, self-sustainability, economic development in our communities.
It is really time that this country started to embrace the importance, the knowledge, the power and the beauty of Aboriginal culture.
I have always wanted for non-Indigenous people in this country to actually experience, meet and connect with Aboriginal people.
When you visit a destination, you hear that local story, you feel the seasons, you witness the passion that people have on the land that has been there since time immemorial. There's nothing quite like it.
Anytime any Australian's looking for an Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander cultural experience, the first thing they'll think of is welcometocountry.com.
To continue your journey and make a true connection right across Australia, visit us at welcometocountry.com.